Okay, now foreclosure rules, of course, they vary from state to state. And in our viewing audience, we have people who are from both Missouri and Illinois. Dan, would you mind explaining what the Missouri process is?
Sure. Missouri is what's known as a non-judicial foreclosure state, meaning that it's not necessary for the lender to go to court. Most mortgages have what's called a power of sale in Missouri. And all that's required is a default, and the default is determined by what's called the deed of trust, which is a contract between the borrower and the lender. And defaults typically include failure to make your payment, failure to pay taxes, and so on and so forth. So once a default occurs, the lender notifies the borrower of the default and then can publish a notice that would accelerate the loan, declaring the total balance due, and then publishes a notice of foreclosure sale. Has to give 20 days notice. It's 20 days from the date that the notice is put in the mail, which means that the borrower doesn't necessarily receive 20 days notice. And then they also have to publish notice in St. Louis and St. Louis County. It has to be published for 20 consecutive days up until the date of the sale. And if that's all done properly, then the foreclosure sale can be held. It can be continued by the trustee for up to 7 days unilaterally. It could then be continued by the parties also if they agree to a longer period. But then the sale takes place and the deed of trust determines how the money is paid. Typically the money is not sufficient to pay down the full amount of the loan.
And the whole process really happens fairly quickly.
Very quickly, yes. It's 20 days notice.
Oh, my goodness.
So
I'm sure that's a shock to the system for a lot of people.
Absolutely.